Hello, golfers, and this is Dean with golfallyear.com, and I am officially 1 week into the Tathata Golf training program. This is a 60-day program online that is going to kind of take your swing to the next level, and so I'm trying it out, see if it's going to help my swing. It's kind of a system based on um, the martial arts, kind of centering the body, using energy and pressure and things like that to hit the golf ball. And it looks at what all great athletes and all great golfers do. It focuses a lot, I found, on the muscles in my abdomen. The stomach muscles are super important in martial arts and the golf swing and getting that energy and pressure and power to hit the golf ball. And so I'm a week in, and so I'd like to review some of the things that I like, dislike, my first impressions, and where I'm going from here. So my first impressions of the Tathata Golf program was I was a little skeptical. I was worried because I'm not very flexible, and I've kind of patterned and developed some muscle memory for over 35 years in my golf swing. Never taken a lesson, but this kind of worried me because I'm obviously doing it online, watching online, and I noticed right off the bat that there was going to be some yoga poses in their warm up routine and some things like that. So I was a little skeptical that I wouldn't be able to continue through it. And so my first impressions kind of got me on edge a little bit. So one of the things that kind of set my mind at ease after my first impressions was that um, the instructor talks a lot about the idea of using pressure and energy and developing a firm and strong. He talks a lot about strong um, ways to move the body and to get the body into positions that are going to produce great energy. And it kind of comes from the martial arts. And he talks a lot about clearing your mind and not worrying about swing mechanics. And we always think about all these little things in our heads. I got to keep my arm straight. I got to make sure that my back foot is doing this or that, or my head's got to stay still and things like that. And what I liked about this um, program that after my first impressions was that it tries to clear your mind and you can focus on just making sure that you are getting the proper energy and putting that energy into hitting the golf ball. And so I really like that off the bat. And so it kind of got me more into the program. So the first thing the program does in day one is works on a warm up routine, and like all warm up routines, it involves some stretching, and this kind of involves some of the yoga poses that I would say I've seen in my course of teaching and things like that. And so this did not excite me. I'm not very flexible, and so I was a little worried about the warm up routine, but the neat thing about the warm up routine was that it had a lot of positions that you need to get into in the golf swing. And so it works on your ankles and it works on your stomach muscles and things that you're really going to need in the golf swing. And so, in that sense, it wasn't bad. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the warm up routine every time I do a lesson, but we will see. There it goes into the setup. He takes you through precisely how you set up, and this part I really did like the setup. It's very similar to what I'm kind of moved towards more of a stack and tilt type swing, and one of the things they talk about in the setup is the duck feet, and again, Tathata Golf also talks about this. He talks about getting your feet where they're pointing outward, both feet pointing outward. And then he also talks about something that Ben Hogan talked about, where you kind of take your back foot and move it back slightly, so you have kind of a closed stance. And so the closed stance, the duck feet, and then the idea that you want to round and kind of keep your back rounded and your head down. Day three starts chapter two of the curriculum in Tathata Golf, and uh, day three begins with some body motions, and this is focused on the backswing. You don't use a club in these first few lessons, and so what they work on is they work on getting that rib cage high and getting that power on the backswing. They talk about the some of the drills that they do, the Swiss ball drill and the punch drill, and those type of drills to get you in the right position on the backswing, and everything is centered, and everything is in the correct position. And so day two kind of builds off the setup and works into that backswing. Days broke down the footwork. He really goes in depth into the proper footwork and how your feet should be, and what you do on the downswing with your feet. And then the last few days talked about the finish and how you should finish. And one of the things you'll get out of this first week in the program is that you really need to be confident. It really talks about being confident and strong and building that pressure and energy so you can really send the golf ball. And they even talk about one of the big things that he says, one of the most important things is a step out after you do every drill and you do these swings. You step out, with power and confidence. You watch, and then he shows a lot of clips, and this is one of the things I'll talk about a little later. But a lot of clips of people stepping out of their swing as they finish it, with power and strength, like, gosh, I hit a good shot. So that's kind of the focus of the last few days was the power and the finish of the golf swing. Okay, let's talk about things that I like about Tathata Golf, and there are many things that I like. One thing as a teacher and a coach that I am, the details and how he breaks things down and how one thing builds off another. Talking about a curriculum and the simplicity of it really is impressive. He really is able to give you how things should feel and how things should be in the swing. And he uses, martial arts ideas to kind of illustrate the way that you should be swinging. And so I really like that part about it. The idea of staying centered and stopping to having to think, and these movements will become just natural. And there's just so many movements that you can do. That's one thing that I really liked about it. The other thing I like about it is you can do it anywhere and you can do it on your own time. Going to a lesson and having to do all that, and I just don't want to do it. I want to do things from my home, and I want to do them when I can do them. And so I found myself practicing, just when I'd get some time around the house, or even like I said at work, in between classes and things like that. I would practice, and I like that about this training. The idea of having videos of actual golfers doing these things, and he does a good job of taking a golfer, an athlete, and showing how that athlete is using these techniques and these ideas that he talks about. And the idea of having one focus is really neat too. The idea of energy, so those things are very impressive. The website's easy to work. It's easy to move around in. It has extra videos that you can do. They have video extras, which I saw one on Greg Norman, in which he talked about the first thing that moves in the downswing is your stomach, your stomach muscles, and that's exactly what Tathata Golf talks about. So using these greats and kind of video analyzing some of the great movements and putting them into your golf swing. So that the drills that you do, you also see in the um, actual greats of the game. He also does a lot with, just great athletes. And so the website is very easy to use, and you kind of can see your progress and how you're working through it. You get badges when you complete a chapter. I've completed the first chapter. The second chapter is actually 10 lessons. And so I got a little bit more to do in that. But those are the things that I really like about Tathata Golf. 60-day training. Okay, so now I want to talk about some of the things that I don't necessarily like about Tathata Golf 60-day program. One, and probably the biggest thing is I think the videos are a little long. The lessons are about an hour long, and I think that sometimes they can drag on. He really tries to get in your head and really breaks down things almost too much at times. And so sometimes you find yourself kind of dozing off or wanting it to move a little faster. And I think that's one of the things that might get me a little later in the program. The other thing is, the quizzes at the end. I really don't think the quizzes at the end are worthwhile. They're really easy to do, and it's kind of obvious. I think they're more of a, review. Here's the summary of what we learned, which is good in that way, but, I might start skipping the quizzes at the end. And there's no really way in the program to know if you're doing it right or if you're really improving. And so you kind of got to do it a feel. I went and hit some balls as you'll see. And that's one way that I'm going to try to figure out if I'm actually getting better and, besides just feel. And so not having a specific way that I know that I'm, getting better and improving my golf game kind of can be frustrating. I'm going to hit some shots here after a week of training with Tathata Golf and going through the first 5 days of lessons. So let's take a look and see how I do. All right, not too bad. All right, let's take a look at my swing statistics after a week of Tathata Golf training. This was my pitching wedge. I took 20 shots. You can see that the average distance was 117 yards with a long of 146. I did hit one really fat that went only 43 yards. But most importantly, you can see the average face angle and the average swing path were in great position, open 1.4 degrees and slightly inside to out. So this is very promising for the Tathata training. All right, so overall, after a week of Tathata training, I found that I really do like it, and I think it's helped my golf game. As you can see in the next little clip, that I have improved, it seems like, my swing, or at least my swing is getting pretty consistent. After taking 20 swings, my swing path and club face angle were exactly where I'd like it. So in that sense, very happy with the training. And so overall, I'm excited to continue. I'm hoping that, things kind of pick up in which I'm able to use a club and able to really see how well I'm improving. But overall, so far, so good. Right, that's 1 week of Tathata Golf training. Check back for more videos next week. Please subscribe down below if you want to get other ideas and more things about golf. Please check out golfallyear.com. Also, if you want to join me in Tathata Golf training, use the promo code Golf All Year and get a 7-day free trial of Tathata Golf. All right, see you next week.